price of just about everything inflating these days, you may wonder why Mint is deflating the price of Mint.
It's like, I could have bought this for $70, then I could have bought it for cheaper, then the DLC and the season pass comes out, and then they release this version, which gets me to buy the season pass. So they've gotten like some amount of money out of me, but for most people, they probably won't even buy the season pass or any of the DLC. And it just materially makes sense that if you, I guess this is true for everything though, right? It's true for movies and TV shows. If you're patient enough, they'll find their way to where you are at some point. I just don't know how long you're gonna have to wait. And I think that if I wasn't a professional enthusiast, as it were, and I was just a player of video games, like just like old school, but I'd probably be playing a lot of old stuff and random stuff and weird stuff and wouldn't give a shit probably about what was coming out, with the exception of some big games that really drew my eye. And I think a lot of that would come from not only the quality of the game in a version 1.0 or a launch patch edition, but also just, again, what we were saying earlier and what he's saying about Cyberpunk in the 2.0 edition, which fixes a bunch of stuff and really changes fundamentally a lot of the things in the game, makes it better, and then Phantom Liberty as well. It kind of pisses me off. It just kind of annoys me a little bit. I waited, what, almost 2 years to play Cyberpunk myself? And even that wasn't enough time for them to fix it completely and give us the full content. And it's just, and then it's cheaper than ever and it's more accessible than ever. There's a great tension here. I don't know exactly how to deal with it. Dustin, what do you think? Do you have anything you'd like to say?
I think that there's an important element that maybe, I don't want to say Kyle's skipping over, but at least not considering, in that, yeah, we do like to support devs day one when the product's finished. When they release a finished product, like absolutely. And in the cases of Cyberpunk, I think that was an eye-opening moment for a lot of people, where it's like, you realize you can't necessarily just trust devs, even if they have delivered for you in the past. That this is what I always say, is that you should at least wait to see some reviews and then go buy it on day one, right? Or if you have to buy a physical copy or pre-order it, buy it from a place that you can easily return it if it turns out, hey, it sucks day one. In that case, I would say you don't want to support the developers. Big example of this just recently is the new Star Wars Jedi game, right?
Oh yeah.
A lot of people that played that day one had a pretty poor technical experience, and some people will say that, oh, it didn't bother me. Great, more power to you. But now, when I check out the game way later, it's going to be solid 60 on PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
and
cheaper,
so,
probably.
And I'm glad that, I was thinking about checking it out at release, and then saw that stuff, and I thought, I don't want to play it that bad. I'll wait. And so I was happy to, in that case, happy to not support the devs day one when they released something that clearly wasn't finished yet. It literally took them months to fix it. So there is that important element too, where you should support the devs on day one, but be informed that it is something worth supporting, because we want to make sure that we are supporting finished products, which there are quite a few games nowadays that are not when they come out.
Yeah. I would also say day one is less important than full price. You know, like I would say, like, you know, if you've got a game that's out that you think deserves the support, you don't necessarily have to pre-order it or like buy it the day it comes out. Like Dustin said, inform yourself on whether or not it's a game that you think you would like to support, and then buy it at full price if it's something that you want to support. You know, it's because that is really what allows, like the sales of Cyberpunk. Like, yeah, okay, it was a lot of people buying a game sight unseen. Just kind of based off of blind trust, and it didn't really pan out the way that it should have. It was a mess at launch for a lot of people. But at the same time, it sold so much that they kind of had to fix it, and as a result of that, there is some level of like, well, it sold so much as a broken game that like it probably justified the existence of Phantom Liberty in the first place. So there's like this weird kind of cyclical, almost paradoxical nature of it, where like there's a scenario that exists where like, yeah, Cyberpunk doesn't sell really anywhere near as much as they were hoping for because the game is so bad, and then you don't get the 2.0 update, and then which is unacceptable, by the way, but it is also it seems like a very plausible reality. So There's no real simplistic way to go about it. I think the best way to go about it really is just, keep yourself informed. If it's something that you believe is going to be great or something that speaks to you and you want to support the devs, absolutely try to buy it at full price. And that's kind of where I would leave it, That's as much power as you have.
We had we have 6 questions. I'm deleting one of them, which was the 4th one, because it was related to what we already talked about earlier in the show, so I don't want to go back to it. I apologize for that, so we only have 5 here. So let's get to Matthew Theriault. Theriault. I don't know how to say it. It's French.
I have no idea. That's a weird one.
Howdy, y'all. Why has Sony never attempted a AAA direct competitor to the Pokemon series? With each new generation, it becomes increasingly obvious that Game Freak and the Pokemon Company are uninterested in catering to the longtime fans of the franchise. Despite being around for over 25 years, they have not grown with their audience, remaining perpetually baby's first JRPG. The games have subpar graphics, uninspired art styles, overly simplistic and saccharine stories, and refuse to implement voice acting or other standard production values. Occasionally, small indie studios will attempt a monster collecting game, but these are always limited in their scope and ambition. It seems to me that Sony is leaving money on the table by not competing in this space. Would you want to see a AAA Pokemon-like game from Sony, and if so, from which studio? Sweet summer child Matthew. Do you guys remember a specific franchise that I'm thinking of here that Sony
Digimon.
did? Well, Digimon exists, yeah, but within PlayStation's ecosystem.
Within PlayStation.
Digimon is definitely a thing. Monster Rancher was a thing too, and all that kind of stuff. There is a PlayStation second-party franchise that is a Pokemon series, and there was actually a lot of entries in it, but it wasn't played very much by you, obviously, or others. Invisimals. Invisimals was a PSP series and a Vita game. It also came to PS3 at some point too, from a Spanish studio called Novorama. The first one came out in 2009 on PSP, I think, and then they basically had a new one the next couple of years. They also did the Vita launch game. Do you guys remember the game Reality Fighters, where you would take a picture of your face and then put it on a fighter in the game? It was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
They did that game, and more recently, they were purchased by Tencent, actually, Novorama, but they were in a second-party relationship with Sony for a long time, and they made the series called Invisimals, and it was actually augmented reality. It was like you were taking pictures. It was kind of like Pokemon Go, actually, in some way. Not quite as sophisticated as that, because it had no geolocation and stuff like that. But do you guys remember this franchise at all?
Barely. I feel like now that I see the logo, it sort of rings a bell a little bit, but I very little about this.
This reminds me of when Trump found out that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. And there's that.
I'm just
hearing about this for the first time. I've never heard of this in my fucking life. I've never seen this iconography. I've never seen these characters. I've never seen this logo. I've never heard this word. This is crazy.
Yeah, there were Vita ones.
What the fuck?
Yeah, the Lost Kingdom was the PS3 one. There was I think the Alliance was the Vita one. And there was like some anime series that I think was going on with it, like a children's series.
Yeah, Western animation, Invisimals.
But yeah, so I just wanted to give a shout out to Invisimals, because they did try that. Now you're saying, of course, Matthew, AAA. I wouldn't call this AAA at all.
No.
But I don't know that there's much. That seems like good money after bad to try to compete with Pokemon. It just seems like a unique thing. Many companies have tried to compete to varying degrees of the gotta catch them all or have it all, collect it all phase that people go through. But I don't know. I don't think that Sony's leaving any money on the table by not messing around with this. And I thought you'd find it interesting that indeed there was a Pokemon-like series on Sony one day. I did go and look at what Pokemon-like games people are still playing on PlayStation. I knew a few off the top of my head, and the newest one is that game Temtem. That was supposed to be pretty good. And then there are the Nexomon games. I think there's like 2 or 3 of those. And then the one I was thinking of too, which is kind of old now actually, was World of Final Fantasy, which was a cool one where it was basically capturing Final Fantasy monsters, specifically in a very childlike, chibi style.
There's also that game where you can enslave Pokemons and make them create guns for you in a factory, right?
Oh yeah. Did that come out?
I don't know if it's out.
What was that
What game is that?
Pokemon Gun Factory game.
Pokemon with guns.
Yeah,
that will definitely pop it up.
Pal World.
Pal World.
We said that exactly in the same cadence.
We did. New gameplay trailer. Pokemon with guns. That's the title of this YouTube video.
Release date official. You don't remember this trailer, Colin?
No, this is awesome. I love the gameplay. The gameplay looks dope. Like just the screenshot. I'm seeing here.
It's so absurd though, because it's just like I'll never forget this one.
It's cute.
I don't know if it was like a clip of a trailer or something, but it's just literally an assembly line of
Oh yeah, it's in this one.
AK-47s.
And
it's
it's in
just-
this one at 106.
Oh, this is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, hold on, wait.
It's yeah, they're all lined up
106?
working on.
Yeah, I'll never forget this.
AR.
This is etched into my brain in a way that like it's just it will always be. Yeah, it's so crazy. It's just a bunch of fucking toga peas making fucking. I love that this is real. God bless. See, AI couldn't do this.
No.
No.
This
Never.
was like a guy had to do this. It was like, what if we made Pokemon slaves that made guns? And somebody was like, yes.
What if?
What if indeed?
Final inquiry we can go through quickly. It says, that strong nerd wrote in and said, hey guys, this question is directed to Colin and only Colin. You always state that games such as Starfield and the new entries of Zelda are too big and will go insane to even try to attempt to play them. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth stated it has over 100 hours of content in it. Does this mean it's an immediate write-off for you and we'll skip? He later went on, it was a longer letter, but he went on to say that he knows that I won't. But I wanted to just say this off the top. Bullshit does that game have 100 hours of content in it. If you're talking about the gold saucer and things like that, and then you're kind of, and I'm not saying you, but the production people, here's what I'm saying. They made this game in 4 years. Final Fantasy VII, I went on howlongtobeat.com, now owned by IGN. Final Fantasy VII Remake, average main plus extras playthrough is 42 hours. And a completionist playthrough is 86 hours on average, and that requires you beating the same game twice. So there's no, I wouldn't consider that 86 hours worth of content. That's just 40 something hours worth of content seen twice. I saw that and I don't believe that. Just throwing that out there. That's what we used to call Dustin, dev math.
Dev math.
And there's just no way I believe that Final Fantasy VII earnestly, straight up, 100% has 100 hours of unique.
But Colin, it's on 2 discs.
I just find that hard to believe.
I
Dragon
love that
Quest,
they did that. Discs.
the last game I remember spending more than 100 hours with was Dragon Quest XI, and it was 130 hours, very tightly controlled 130 hours. It was really 130 hours. I was obsessive with it, and I platinumed it. And I'll go the full length for Dragon Quest, and that was in 2020, so it's been 3 years or so, more than that probably, since I've played a game that long. I think if Final Fantasy VII Rebirth really requires that much time from me, I'll give it to it, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
I really do.
I'm very doubtful.
Yeah.
Like
So-
I think you could find things like there's probably you know what that probably accounts for. It probably accounts for because I know there's like mini games and stuff.
Yeah,
in it.
it's
Like,
the gold.
there's,
That's what I was saying. It's the gold saucer shit. It's got to be.
It's literally like, oh, you can play. There's like a progression system within the boxing mini game or whatever that takes however many hours to really complete. It's like, yeah, but it's not. You're not really playing this for that. You're playing Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth for the story. It's not like Destiny or like a competitive multiplayer game where you're going to put hundreds and hundreds of hours of it into it over time. It's very different.
Well, now that it has a date of Leap Day, which I think is dope, of February 29, next year, just like with Spider-Man. So Alan Wake, played it, platinumed it. Alan Wake 2. Spider-Man, played it back in 2018, now going to play it, platinum it, PS5, DLC, Spider-Man 2. Then Final Fantasy VII Intergrade, which I never played. So going to do the PS5 version of it, play the Yuffie DLC, into Rebirth. This is a strategy that is doing well for me for the content as well. Gives us things to talk about. Will you guys play Spider-Man again this before Spider-Man 2, or are you just going to go?
Work goes smoothly when you know the right steps. With Asana, you can coordinate tasks across teams and stay on track, so your team can spend more time celebrating wins. Try it for free at asana.com.
Go right into it.
Right in, baby. Raw.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember it pretty well. I did also play it recently, like not all the way through. I had this thing, man, like where I'll play through because I wanted to try it on PS5 because I never actually played Spider-Man Remastered on PS5.
Yeah, me neither. That's what I'm excited about. 60
and
frames.
I
and
tried
all
it and I was like, yeah, it's good, but as I'm playing through it, I'm remembering everything in sequence. Like it's refreshing my memory, and so like I do this thing and it's like, oh, this is when this happens, and then it just sort of I lose like the steam to really go through it any further, especially just because I don't know. I specifically with Spider-Man PS4, because of those fucking puzzles. Like, I think I played it until I got to a puzzle. And I was like, oh. I could do this in 3 minutes probably, but it's so disruptive. And every time I think about going back to Spider-Man, I turn it on. I'm like, yeah, let me get into Spider-Man again. And it brings me back to that puzzle. And I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore because I cannot express how deeply I dislike what those sequences do to that game, because that game is so good. And then it just has these unnecessary like flourishes for no real reason. It's disheartening. And it's been the main reason why I haven't gone back and finished it. Just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh, match the fucking chromosomes. Or whatever the fuck he's doing. I don't even know what the fuck he's doing.
I only have one chromosome. I have nothing to match it with.
I have a single chromosome, and I've split them evenly between all of my cells.
That's it, my friend. Let's get the hell out of here. That was fun.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys. Good to be back with the trio again. Dustin, you were missed. Goodbye to you. Have a good rest of your day. Go to sleep. You look a little... I was going to make fun of you a few times. You weren't doing anything wrong, but I was just saying that I was thinking of looking at you as you were looking into the camera, just being like, he's totally in another world right now. Like,
it's funny because I don't feel tired.
Yeah.
But something in my brain is saying, for the past 10 days, you were asleep right now. I slept 12 hours last night. I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm in a weird zone right now. But I got to tell you guys one surprising thing on the trip to leave us. The way home, Holly was reading some manga on our iPad mini. Looked over and guess what she's reading? The Adventures of Dai.
Oh, she's getting into it.
And she said, I really like this, and I might want to check out the game. I said, you want to check out Infinity Strash?
Infinity Strash,
yeah, I think I might want to check that out. Yeah. So there you go. Maybe that'll be played in the Furman house in the next few weeks. We'll see.
Yeah. It'll be played here in the Moriarty household, no doubt about it.
Hell yeah.
Excited about it. No preload, I don't think, for it, so I haven't bought it yet. But Chris, goodbye to you, my friend.
Hey, goodbye, man. I'm gonna be man. I got a video to get done, so I'm on like a little bit of a crunch deadline, but I work pretty well under crunch. But yeah, the rest of my dude, I got so much I have so much little shit to do. Like I have laundry that I've been putting off for and I really don't know why. I'm usually really good about it, but I think it's because my parents are coming, and I know that it's gonna be like a big bunch of laundry, and I'm like, do I really want to do like a little bit at once, or do I want to just get everything clean at like when they, you know what I mean? Like as they're closer to here. It's like, I don't know. They're coming. I've got 9 days.
Yeah, I would wait
before they show up.
Wait.
Yeah,
make it nice and pristine for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think so.
That's my goal. But just got all that work to do, and my parting words would be
open up. Black China, I drink her piss out of another man's balls. I shoot her a crack.
I gotta watch this video with sound.
What is his name of the vampire?
Dracula Flow.
Dracula Flow.
It's so out of pocket, man. If any one of these was like a yearbook quote at any point for you, you would have been the star of that year. Just unreal.
Love it.
We out here smoking symbiotes.
All right, my friends. It was good to be here with you today. Thank you all out there for your love, kindness, and support. Last Stand Media, Sacred Symbols, etc. Couldn't do without you over on Patreon. Patreon.com/LastStandMedia. Early ad, free access, Sacred Symbols Plus, and more. LastStandMedia.store for merch. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.
See ya.
Take care, guys.
Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is conceived by, is written by, and is directed by me, Colin Moriarty. My co-hosts are Chris Raygun Maldonado and Dustin Furman. The show is produced by executive producer Dustin Furman. It's edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by my best friend, Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand's shows, including Sacred Symbols, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your thoughtful and kind contributions to our independent endeavor. Thank you.
Defining Duke is brought to you by Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. So instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. So what are you waiting for? Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Duke. All for good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/Duke. Just go to Indeed.com/Duke and support the show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Indeed.com/Duke. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststand. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 146 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I am joined by, as always, my lovely co-host, Lord Cognito. Sir, how are you this week? Oh, wait, time out.
Oh, sorry, you hit me now. What about? There we go. We live. Professional podcasting.
We can restart. All
right, let's restart.
We'll start. We're good. We will, do we start a new recording for this?
You want to just have it out, right?
Yeah. We'll just trim it out. No worries. I'll do the intro again.
All right, do that.
Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 146.2 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today I'm joined by my unmuted co-host, Lord Cognito. There's a bit of backstory to the last 40 seconds of our life here. Shall we get into it?
Let's get into it. We're going to talk about what happened.
Professional podcasting in motion right now.
Professional podcasting. Nah, man, I'm doing better. Much better. As most of you already know, up on Twitter, I kind of I've been fairly transparent with stuff that's been going on with me, and this week was a very anxiety-filled week because I knew everything was building to this moment. So I don't know if we're gonna get into it or whatever.
But I'm gonna let the audience know. Gonna get a nice heart-to-heart here, probably in the opening 20 minutes. Beyond the medical, we're gonna talk with our audience transparently. Got some stuff weighing on my heart that I'd like to talk about. So Cog, kick us off, and then we'll get into the rest.
Yeah, the heart-to-heart with the realm of the Dukes, right? So it's for me, on the health front, obviously a lot of you know what happened to me early in the year and how I was hospitalized. I've been hospitalized a lot this year, and a lot of it was not due to my fault, but circumstances, COVID, pneumonia, and then diverticulitis all at once, and one of the major things which is my concern is always long-term, the residual effects. How am I going to be affected? And they told me at the time that, hey, we saw some things on the liver, hey, we saw some things here. So that always was in the back of my mind, and everything got down basically to this week and the results of that liver biopsy, which I told y'all the glorious story last week of how awful that was. So man, and to me, I had to come into it like, look, you have to be prepared if it's an answer you don't want to hear, right? And I know the big C word is a word that floats around, when you're in your 40-somethings, and stuff like that. You got to do early detection, you got to do a lot of things. So, I'm going into the gastroenterologist's office kind of with the, all right, be ready in case. And he just sat me down and just said, look, man, I'm looking at your results. I'm looking at everything we saw. When we saw you, 3 or 4 months ago, we saw these lesions. They were this size. We don't know what they were. That's why we took so many cuts of the biopsy. And then he sat me down. He was just like, look, not only have the lesions reduced and we barely see them anymore, he was like, liver function is normal. So I just was a step back, and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I was bracing myself for like bad news. And when he told me, and I'm just like, yo, this is a blessing. And I remember when they told me back then, when they saw something, I said, bro, I got to change whatever because they told me, it's like, hey, get on a low salt diet, do a couple things to your diet. They were basically saying, and keep up with your exercise and stuff like that. But I went aggressive. I remember at that time, I'm like, you know what, I'm going no salt. We gonna grab this Mrs. Dash. We gonna, I was like, I'm going extra hard. So I asked him, I was like, do you think, he's like, oh yeah, he said a lot of that stuff can contribute, to it. And he just said, hey man, keep doing what you're doing. And bro, it was such a relief. And I got through it. So still not, I'm out of the clear out of the major one, because now every other specialist is like, okay, now we want to see you because you got your results. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. Yeah. So, we got to make sure the lungs are good, make sure everything, all the kidney, all that other stuff is good. But from all intents and purposes, pulmonologists, gastroenterologists, everybody is saying you have done like this major turnaround, and you are very fortunate based on how things were looking and how dire it was. You almost lost your life earlier this year. So it's a blessing. And I've just been, I just been in this zone. Settled out. Now my anxiety is down. Now I can, not stress as much. So that's where I'm at. And I'm very appreciative. And thanks everyone for checking in and all the messages that I get. Shout out to COVID Commander. He hits me up a lot, and, I let him know what's going on and stuff, because it's been a very stressful year on me mentally with all this stuff, while trying to do all my other stuff. But we're still here, and we're gonna still keep pushing forward with the health as well. You know what I'm saying? So that I'm happy. It's a blessing.
Yeah, I'm very relieved to hear that everything's come back clear, man. Because that was, one of the worries, right? It feels like there's been an aura around this show of just bad health occurrences, and like we couldn't escape it. And then it like ekes out to Gene. Even it's like, man, like LSM needs a win. So I'm glad you're coming out clean, and it makes me very relieved, very happy to hear it. I got good news of my own, right?
What's going on?
So as many people know, I've had the swaying and balance issues for, we're about a month away from it being a year. And for those who didn't check any of the videos or listen to any of the shows, what effectively happens is like my head will swivel, not like dramatically like, wow, but it'll be small, tight circles that you as a general human may not notice, but I'll be like staring at the computer and I'll just feel my head kind of rock, and it makes it incredibly hard to focus. And that led to balance issues where like I lean in a chair, and we have ergonomic chairs, right? So like these seats kind of give a little bit and they'll rock. And when you and I were at the Forza event, I specifically told you I was having a really tough time with the chairs they had there. They were just rocking everywhere, very unstable, where I just felt off balance every single day pretty much for a year, which is, at first you're like, that's doable, but it's, oh my God, it's grating on your mental health for sure. So I can relate to you on that, Cog. And when I switched to these glasses and I switched the diet, I got reduced symptoms, but it was still there. And it was frustrating because I'm like, what's the kill shot to this thing then, man? Like, I've completely changed my life, my habits. Like, what more do you want? And so I thought about our conversation, what you said about your mom, about physical therapy. And I was like, you know what? I was like, let me call, give it a shot. And at first they thought it was like a postural thing. Like your neck muscles, like you're always at the computer, you're like this, your neck muscles get tight. And they described how as your head's always forward, it can cause a vestibular symptom where it feels like you're off balance. And I'm just like, okay, makes sense, work related. And so we worked on that a lot, and I felt really good. I mean, these dudes were doing some crazy stretches to me. Man, dude, I was feeling good, but I was not losing the swaying and the balance issues. They were still there. And I was in disbelief. I'm like, what the is it? And I come in last Monday, and this guy, it was just me and one other specialist there. Like normally the place is kind of packed, specialists working with all these different clients. And this dude's like, I went over your papers, went over your MRI, I went over everything. He's like, I want to try something different with you today. So he takes me over to this wall. He has lined up on the wall these sticky notes, and it's labeled 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And he made me go full Halo Combat Evolved, all right? Okay. So you know how you get, when you're like looking around, like, yeah. So he's like, stand with your head facing straight, and he's like, I want you to look 1, 2, 10 times.
This
2,
is
3.
Combat Evolved.
Yeah, I went full, and my head straight went there. I was like, I swear to God, if this works. And so,
Halo for the day.
Halo's getting some W's this show.
Let's go.
And it wasn't like an immediate change, But they had me stand on one leg, other leg. They had me doing a lot of balance focused exercises. And while it wasn't gone, like when I got back, Laylee's always like, how was it? And I was like, something feels a little different. And obviously with physical therapy, these people aren't magicians. They expect you to do the work at home. And so I went to, I had a little weekend trip away to kind of just recover and just mentally reset. It was desperately needed. I'll get into why later. And Saturday, when we were at the spa, you know, I've been doing these exercises every day. And for the first time in a year, man, like, it was stillness. Like, I was not rocking. I was no swaying, no swiveling. I was eating foods that I, quote, wasn't supposed to be eating, and nothing was happening. I was like, I was so happy. You couldn't even believe it. Like I said to Laylee, I said, I feel like I'm living a dream right now, that I'm not on skates right now. Like that I'm being a normal person to some degree. And I felt very good because I knew taking the medicine wasn't the answer. I knew that I should never have tried that, and I'm glad I didn't. I was like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like the answer I'm looking for. And while it took a lot of patience, it feels good to know now I'm on this road to recovery, and what they think is actually happening, and why I'm still gonna wear these glasses and really take care of myself, is the theory that
brimming with possibility and rife with adventure. Only the most intrepid capsuleers can conquer its many wonders. Do you have what it takes to become one with the machine? To explore the far reaches of space, carving out a name for yourself among the stars? To become a titan of industry, amassing wealth, power, and prestige as you rise above your rivals? Or to prove your worth in combat, cementing new alliances and vanquishing your foes on your path to glory? For the rare few, immortality awaits.
אמרתי וציינתי, סוגיית החטופים היא סוגיה בעדיפות עליונה. אנחנו בצה"ל עסוקים בניסיונות המבצעיים דרך המפקדה המבצעית, ואנחנו אוספים גם מודיעין, זה חלק